Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we finally completed a really annoying puzzle that we were doing before, so thankfully that is now done. We also had what might have been the closest thing we've had thus far, at least, to a real test post-Isbel, with a full 3-round battle against a relatively normal opponent, no alternate win conditions that gave us an easy, quick way out. Was a little bit of an unusual enemy in that they had one card in particular that we don't see that often that they were spamming, and it made it seem as though it was maybe a slightly easier enemy than we would usually find against, the other Nilfgaardian opponents that have pretty similar decks. So maybe still not a perfect test in that way, but that does give us a little bit more confidence that we can still proceed post-Isbel. And now we have this battle here that we know about. Otherwise, despite having, I believe, gotten a notice board over there, really did not learn anything about the stuff further to the west and north of here. So, I mean, maybe we just do this one, because this is something that we know definitively exists. We also have found this shrine as well. I mean, we should probably just see if we can succeed here without having to resort to increasing our morale and maybe save those shrines. What is that? That looks like... Is that a corpse? I was gonna say, it looked like a person, but no, I'm pretty sure that's a corpse. Yeah, but what is this? Vitold? I leave you a small gift. Oh, treasure map, perhaps? Which should ease the fort's recapture from the Nilfgaardians. Do not delay the attack. The queen will soon reach the border. By striking from the rear, we can spare the burden on her troops, hastening their march on the capital. Rivia has life in it yet. Yaropek. P.S. Secure the hideout's entrance. I don't believe the Blackclads are on our trail, but Melitele protects those who protect themselves. Well, that part may not have worked so well. No. Usually there's a treasure map that immediately pops up after that, but maybe it's worth checking our bag here to see if anything popped up, but it's not. That's odd. I mean, that really seemed to imply that there's going to be a treasure map, right? I mean, otherwise it's just a grim story about this guy who was trying to help us against the Nilfgaardians, but apparently did not do enough to prevent the Nilfgaardians from stopping him. I don't know, maybe the treasure map is over here in the actual fortification. Oh, that startled me because I, for some reason, was convinced that we were going to have to actively press on the button to initiate that encounter, not just walk up to it and have it activate automatically. But Night Watch, Sergeant Gwendolyn Ephir of the 6th Gesso Infantry Regiment was impatient to finish his duty on watch. He first planned to empty his bladder. He then wished to empty his bottle of Temerian hooch hidden under his bunk. Unfortunately, he hadn't the time to fulfill either desire. Upon seeing the torches of the approaching Lyrian force, he sounded the alarm. Okay, it's a standard battle, so 3 rounds, there's no mention of any alternate win conditions or anything like that, so this might be more of the standard battle we've seen in the past, and maybe this is an even better test of just how viable our deck is without Isbel anymore. It seems like the Ballistae were pretty useful last time, and I think if I recall correctly, we made much better use out of the somewhat recently upgraded Reynard than we have had in the past, so there is that. But now, trying to recall how we made that happen, I think we might have still done, I think it was 1 ballista at the beginning of one round and 1 ballista at the beginning of the other round. So we did that turn 1, and then after that is when we started spamming as many Skellige guys as we could. See, I'm pretty sure we ended up getting at least one of these out with a leader ability charge in round 3, but I don't remember. We might have saved both of them? I don't remember. But the Alchemist and Strays Infiltrator, this, once upon a time, was our second win condition. I mean, I guess to a certain extent it still is. Or at least our second key synergy to build around, but now that we have the Ballista as well, I think these guys have been bumped down even further on the totem pole, and perhaps at this point we are even less concerned about optimizing around them, at least in this round. Yeah, we don't have a lot of cards we're looking to play in this round in that case. What we could do, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably want to save Reynard. I guess we could use Barnabas. We would do Muzzle, I suppose, especially if our opponent has a unit with resilience. I think that's how we used this last time. And then the Artifact Compression, that's also potentially usable in round 1. So, okay, I guess with these, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe as much as 8. We just really don't want to play you or you. I guess that's still workable. Just don't want to trap ourselves. Yeah, so this is the kind of guy that we were either stealing or transforming with Artifact Compression before, I think, once he got the resilience. So we didn't quite have quick enough damage to take him out, I don't think. So we probably still do go Reinforced Ballista now, just to give ourselves the maximum amount of time for that. Because, yes, we want to make sure we get as many Skellige guys out in round 1 as possible, but it's technically not time sensitive. As long as it happens at some point in this round. And you, yep, have the same Nilfgaardian leader ability we've seen a bunch of times before. So nothing new there. Let's see, with leader ability, we'd probably like to get, presumably, more Skellige guys out here. We don't have that many in hand. So let's go leader ability, swap one of you out, and yes, I did recognize they used the term gesso with some of the people that we're fighting against here, and obviously we picked up a few of those guys quite a while back at this point. Okay, so let's do probably still the warriors that in general we like to prioritize.
Come on, kill me! Is today the day?
Okay. So this guy, I imagine, is going to have time to get the resilience. You might as well. But now we'd probably like to get Patricide down as quickly as possible. Yes, obviously Divine Runestone, we want to make sure we have the chance to use it on a Disgraced Warrior, but should have enough time to do that later on. So I think we do this to give ourselves as much time as possible to benefit from your Order ability.
Wanna know why I got my scar?
And yeah, this guy's definitely gonna survive. So I think we try hitting you and see if we might be able to take you out before you get that resilience. Even if this guy has slightly less armor. So yeah, that's gonna happen now. So you're yeah, you're the gain charges to deal damage guy, which we might have, I think we did steal one of those guys in either the previous encounter or the encounter before that, and it wasn't that bad. He was okay, not amazing. But now we'd like to see if we can get rid of you. And then we'll probably look to steal you so that we get the resilience instead of you. But let's see. So do this first, probably. Drops you down to 12. We do this. This is a total of 6 damage, right? Which gets us pretty close to removing you. We're not quite there yet. Let's see. So we do that. Could probably destroy you with these guys, which, well, I mean, if we're about to use the Divine Runestone, we could just do that now and make you a little bit stronger and facilitate that exchange. Sure. Because now you hit 6. Means you're functionally only taking 3 damage. You're 12, so yeah, plenty of damage to remove you. It means we're not really sacrificing this Disgraced Warrior, but I think that's okay in round 1 in particular, when, at least at the end of the round, you're going to go down anyway. So let's do that. Deny them a little, at least a little bit of resilience. We'll hold on to you, though. Like to have a little more time to... Ooh, yeah. Okay. So we are in the lead, so technically we don't need to play further. So we could just end here. It would be kind of nice to steal one of their resilience units, but I guess there's always the chance if we pass now, we could still play, actually, 3 cards in round 2. And in doing so, we might be able to steal a resilience guy if they play another one. This only lasts 1 round, this resilience here, so they would need to play another one. But that's possible. for us to make that happen. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, we could still do some things like artifact compression, but I think we're okay here. So we don't need to win round 2. So I think what we're looking for here is just to find additional ways to build up our own carryover, which we're doing primarily by getting a bunch of skeleton guys on the board. We draw into a whole bunch of Tainted Ale and Infiltrator synergies here, a couple Alchemists as well. It's not really what we want to see in this round. We want to see 2 more skeleton guys we still have in deck. Okay, I mean, we might be able to get one out with our leader, or I guess both out with our leader ability, potentially. But, we'd have to put somebody back into our deck to do that. Let's see, we still 4 redraws. Let's dump one of these guys, see what we get. Fantastic. Yeah, no, okay. So we almost certainly do not want to be playing very far in round 2 in that case, because the key things we'd like to be doing, playing more skeleton guys, is it's not as straightforward, not as feasible a task for us to complete. So, I mean, we'll get the guys down that we have access to right now. And we have at least 3 throwaway cards here that we can play, and in doing so, not have to worry at all about going cards down in the next round. So we can at least take a few turns to play skeleton guys here. We have 2 in our hand anyway. The question is going to be, what do we do on our next turn after this, when we no longer have any skeleton dudes in hand? We will get leader ability back on our next turn, so we could use that and get these 2 guys out. If we play Dogger, which would give us a lot of tempo, then that means we would need to play a lot longer to get our leader ability back and put him back into our deck, so we can still reuse him in round 3. So I would prefer not to do that, but we'll see what happens. Love if they played a resilience guy and we could steal it. They did not do that. Highest power enemy unit. Wait. Turn start. Damage the highest power enemy unit by 5 if its power is an even number. Okay, so that works for you. It does not work for you, and you will be the highest unit on this turn, unless we get you guys out. But why are they only 6 base power? They should have gotten increased by all these guys going into our graveyard. Right? Oh, speaking of which, I guess we could deliberately sacrifice you. The purpose of carryover. Yeah, I guess technically at the end of the round, they don't trigger the Death Wish. So yes, we can still replay them from our graveyard with Dogger in round 3, but we don't increase the base power of everyone else if we just let them, or don't actually sacrifice them. So we do have reason to sacrifice them, even if we are not really looking to play that much more here. So what I'm wondering is maybe we just use Barnabas. We kind of need to, yeah, we would need to, I guess we Barnabas, leader ability, put Barnabas back into our deck, get the other 2 Skelga guys out, because all the value from Barnabas is from his deploy ability. So I think that's still okay. So let's go Barnabas here. Does mean we need to do him first.
Not supposed to be any smoke.
Strengthen an ally by 10. Does help for carryover purposes on the Skelga guys. Tainted Ale is obviously really nice. If we were to try to do more Infiltrator stuff, then we don't have a great target for it right now, but it is sort of interesting. It's slow as well, so it really doesn't quite work. We're looking to play longer than it might, but let's do this. Yes, you've taken some damage, which makes it a little bit tempting to use it on you, but at the same, are we required to do it on you because you're damaged? No, I think we can on you. So I think I'm actually going to use it on you because although you haven't taken damage yet, so the healing aspect doesn't matter, if we were to strengthen you, it would become much more difficult to sacrifice you. Like here, we can still sacrifice you, which is something that we are probably about to do, because we're going to use leader ability on Barnabas. Get basic Skelga guys, not Dogger, out. Okay, see, now it shows them as 12s. Yeah, I figured that might have just been a little bug where it wasn't updating the value while they were in deck. But now we do this. Sacrifice you, increase the power of you guys. So that's negative value in this round, but since we're not really trying to play any longer in this round, that was all with the intention of setting ourselves up for a bigger round 3. Likewise for increasing the base power there. I mean, that obviously did have some short-term value, but probably looking to pass on our next turn. Would be great if you did not catch us, though.
Choice.
And you didn't. So, yeah, we can pass here. That will force them to go a card down in round 3. And we've set ourselves up for a little bit better carryover. So that looks good to me. And if they play one of these guys, they still shouldn't have time to get the resilience, because it requires that they... Oh, well, naturally, you are going to play a card that just starts with resilience instead. Alright, so they'll win round 2. They will get some carryover after all. Alright, and now we draw into the Ballista, which is a card we want to play early in this round to maximize the amount of time we have to deal damage with it. We drew into, where was it? The Footman, which we definitely don't want. So Barnabas, and then I think Dogger's the other card we have here, and I mean, might as well have him in hand, I suppose. Whatever we put back into our deck, we're going to have to get out with leader ability, which means we have a little bit less flexibility timing-wise on using whatever that is. So, I mean, does that mean we want to have Dogger in hand? And Alchemist is also a little time sensitive. Nah, as long as we wait, we can make an Alchemist work, I suppose.
Scrubbing duty again?
Okay, so you're not really a factor. I mean, yes, you will get boosts, but the resilience at least is not a factor. You technically are likely to be the more dangerous card, because we've tended to see that whenever this card shows up, our opponents have a bazillion copies of it. Okay, so let's go Ballista first. That's, as I said, card we want to maximize the amount of time we have on the board with it. And we are not on an even number, so you shouldn't be able to hit it with this guy, but you will with leader ability. Okay, so yes, you're technically sort of an engine, although I'm not that concerned about you. You can get annoying. So I might prefer to go after you, although you could potentially end up being the target for things like Tainted Ale and the Infiltrators and all that. So, let's see, we're going to get leader ability back in just a couple of turns. It might make sense to go Dogger this early. That way we have some time on our next turn to sacrifice all the Skellige dudes. Then, after that, we can use leader ability to replay Dogger, and in doing so, get all the Skellige guys back and benefit from some sacrifices that increase everyone's base power. And this also means we get Patricide out early, and that is another card that benefits from being on the board early.
Personal invitation? Come on, kill me! Is today the day?
Let's see, technically we should put somebody with small base power on the right side of stuffs in case we do find ourselves using an Alchemist relatively early, which may very well end up happening. So the moment Patricide is the highest base power, so let's put you next to, I guess, this.
This is only the beginning! Waiting for a personal invitation? Don't need no weapon!
Or actually, that would be even better.
Dance.
Okay, so yeah, now even if we use a relatively early Alchemist, we should still be fine. Like that. Plus 19, decent value. Okay, but let's use this. And yeah, I mean, we'll go for you, sure. Okay, now that is the one Skellige guy that I would prefer that you not go after. You do give everyone immune, so now you give us no choice but to target that dude. So... Alright. I'm kind of wondering if we want to break out a Barnabas here. You want to destroy you. Wait, no, is this Tainted Ale time already? You're not a very highly boosted card. We kind of prefer to just get rid of you with upfront damage. Tell you what, if we do this, and then we deliberately use you to sacrifice a few of the little disgraced warriors, I think pretty quickly we'll find that the bigger ones will actually be able to take you out. And we're okay with sacrificing here, because on our next turn we'll be able to get these guys back out, so we actually do want to sacrifice them on this turn, or beginning of next turn. So we do this. We do this. That's the last one that technically would go down. Now you would survive. Not by much. But if we actually want to destroy you, probably do need to have these guys need to get a little bit more damage. Like the 20-point Disgraced Warriors, that could start to add up. Don't love the self-damage here because we only have one target, but I think just to soften this guy up a little bit for you two, that might still be worth doing. Now it should be pretty feasible, you would think. Maybe we save you as another sacrificial lamb later on. And these guys at this point are going to be pretty hard to sacrifice anyway because they're big enough. So if we do this, I think you actually destroy it immediately, don't you? Okay. So now we could do some additional sacrifices, which again I think is actually not a terrible thing for us to do here. Because next turn we do want to replay Dogger in all likelihood. So if we do this, you'll get destroyed and boost everyone up. And we just want to do it on as many people as possible. Oh, in fact, we should have started with those guys, because only just barely possible. In fact, they might have just barely survived anyway, I suppose. Okay, so in that case, I think we leave it here for now. Oh, right, that wasn't even playing a card from our hand. Right. Oh, we are going to, however, get our leader ability back soon, and Raynor does benefit from us playing our leader ability, and so rarely in the past did we have the chance to play him early, but this could be a good opportunity for that. So, sure. Let's
Company,
do here.
forward march!
You'll get the order abilities back. I mean, I guess we, for that reason, could have still used these, even if it wasn't going to be enough initially to sacrifice you. Yeah, we really should have. But, okay. In that case, you at least are now a card that we can sacrifice. And yes, technically we should have done this first, but we only just barely had enough damage to, well, we would have had enough damage to destroy you anyway. Okay, I think we're good now.
Now, how did that incantation go?
Okay, so now leader ability is back. So this is where we intend to replay Dogger, and we will also likely get out that Alchemist, which means you are still the best option to boost up, I think. It seems like. Yeah, I mean, unless we were to also play Barnabas on this turn, then maybe he becomes the best option, but we definitely want to try to keep you alive. You're probably a higher priority target to boost up anyway. So, probably do that. And I guess before that, sure, we'll hit you. See, aren't we? We're about to get all these order abilities back from Reynard. So, technically, I guess we could do this, as we were saying before. Could quickly be able to, technically, yeah, no, it wouldn't have made a difference if we did it end of last turn versus beginning of this turn. You guys don't matter as much, because I was just doing that to facilitate sacrificing you. But now for you, I mean, I guess we did remove the armor. We could go for you, but yeah, really this is the one that actually has some longer term value. Try hitting you. Now we go leader ability. Is there anything else we want to have on the board to benefit from the loyal ability on Reynard? I don't really think so. I think we should be okay here. So let's go Dogger. Replay Dogger. And break out an Alchemist. And actually, oh no, Patricide is still bigger than Dogger. Okay.
Ha! Ludicrous! Give me some of that.
So do...
Death!
Oh, right, hold on. All these guys first.
Come on, kill me!
All these guys first. Then it's you
There's been a
doing that.
mistake. I'm no mage.
Okay. So now we can do that. Oh. That's not the first time I've accidentally clicked on a Disgraced Warrior thinking that it was Patricide. But we technically did want to do that. Yes, that was part of the plan. But it was not what I meant to do on that specific click. This is what I meant to do. A little startled. I mean, I guess we can still sacrifice you specifically to this guy if we'd like to. Makes everyone else stronger. That's good news. And then now we do this. And if we really wanted to, we could remove you here with one of the disgraced brawlers. Don't think that's a huge priority, but I mean, sure. Why not? Okay, then we do still need to play something from hand. I think it probably makes sense to go Barnabas here. Well, maybe, maybe not. We could go Alchemist, and this time power up Reynard. That's not bad. Sure.
Greetings.
We do want to make sure we're using
What
Tainted
is it?
Ale pretty soon, though, with the Infiltrators. Otherwise, we will run out of time. We also somewhat run the risk of running out of board space, so we need to be mindful of that as well.
Off to the front yet again.
Okay, so yes, we deliberately destroyed one of the previous Darlin veterans because these guys can power each other up. But now you, technically speaking, are the biggest card and one that might get a little bit bigger in the future as well. So that could be a Tainted Ale target. And I think we might like that not only for Tainted Ale purposes. Wait, do we need... we should Infiltrator first, right? I was gonna say, once we Tainted Ale it and give it a boost, then that also makes it easier to sacrifice some disgraced warriors to it, which, even if it technically doesn't immediately give us a net positive, I mean, it still does, but once we start running out of Skellige guys on the board, after we sacrifice a bunch, then it starts to actually become a net negative, except that it does give us board space, which is something that will start coming at a premium at some point. Okay, so this is still fine. And you are difficult to sacrifice, at least at the moment. Once we do power you up with Tainted Ale, that might become feasible. But for now, let's just hit you. And... oh, right, this. Okay. I think... yeah, all these guys we kind of have to hold off on. Let's leave it at that. Yep, and that's why we're focusing on you, but let's make sure we get the Tainted Ale in now. On this guy. Now you're at 28, which almost enough to even sacrifice you. But it is definitely enough to sacrifice you. So let's do that, because that's a little bit tricky to do that. Then we can even do it on you as well. So again, this is where you look at it and you say, okay, we get 2 additional base power on a relatively small number of Skellige guys, and we lost a pretty high base power card. But we need the board space, and we will potentially still get that guy out from our graveyard later on, because we probably will have time for leader ability to replay Dogger once again. Okay, so you are not going to get destroyed. Oh, well, we could steal you with Muzzle or Artifact Impression, so maybe we still leave you be for now. Then, well, and what are we doing with this guy? But I guess we could hit you, even though you don't really matter that much. But if we do have intentions of stealing you, we actually want you to be bigger. Okay, you come back now, that's fine. Next turn, we need to do this. You are up to 30 now, which is still not quite enough to use this Disgraced Warrior on you. So we might have to let that guy remain unsacrificed. But I mean, we've done a lot of that already, so these guys in general have a ton of base power. So that's not bad. Yeah, but Muzzle, I guess we can steal one of them. Artifact Impression will steal the other. If they play more than that, then it starts to become trickier. But I suppose we will still do this. You're going to survive on a whopping 1 power.
Off to the front yet again.
Yep. More of those guys powers you up once again, so that's fine. So close to this working, but it's not quite. Okay. So, I mean, unless we Barnabas now and happen to get a second Tainted Ale on the same guy, I don't know. Maybe it's worth doing, because this guy's about to come back. We do see that happen somewhat frequently on Barnabas, getting that option for another Tainted Ale. So let's see. No, it does not happen here.
Yes, I'm on it.
You do have a lot of allies and a lot of enemies, but that includes... I mean, you have 2 armor, so we wouldn't lose our Infiltrator. Not a terrible idea to go for the Lyrian Horn. Otherwise, you go for the Ointment, and... I guess you could do it on this guy. I think you just go Lyrian Horn. Keep it simple. Okay. So yeah, you had armor, so that didn't really affect the value of the Infiltrator at all. It did still give us a decent number of boosts. And now, okay, so we do need to try to get rid of one of those guys. Technically, we should have done this first, I suppose, although we didn't know what we were going to get from Barnabas initially anyway. Okay. And yes, we leave it at this. You come back.
Quiet, or the commissar
Even
will hear.
more of these Darlin veterans, so you can see how they really do start to add up pretty significantly. So that's why we have stuff like Artifact Impression to steal another one of you. Go for the one that has the most armor, I suppose. That gives us another card in hand as well, which is convenient, because now we have Last Sale all of a sudden. We can muzzle whoever the biggest one is after they've made their last turn. Continue to hit you. I guess, once again, technically should have done that first. Next turn, we can also replay Dogger, which... as many Skellige guys as we have in our graveyard, this is what I mean. We are not going to have enough board space to do that. So... it's not even like we can sacrifice more dudes, and if we did, we'd still get this guy back out when we replay Dogger. So, I don't know. I mean, if we had enough board space, we could probably get pretty close to 500 points here. So we're definitely close to 400, and then if you factor in that we have at least 100 points worth of Skellige guys in our graveyard right now, we're very close to it. And the potential to re-sacrifice some of them and all that, and, you know, steal one of these dudes, which, you know, 24 power, I mean, it removes 24 from them, gives 24 to us, so it's really a net 48 point play, which is pretty big. But obviously we don't need that. We don't really need any of those things right now, although this has potential, actually, to become our highest point match thus far, I think. So maybe we do at least see this one through, figure out how many points we can put on the board. So I think we actually don't. Well, if we want this leader ability, and we can put back its Dogger, right? Technically, we'll lose a 2-point boost on him, but that's not a huge deal. Then we won't have board space for probably either of these cards, but I think that's still more valuable than doing any of these things, at least when it comes to points on our side of the board. Like, yes, there's a chance that we happen to get this guy out from our graveyard first, and then we don't have board space for the 24 base power copies, in which case, oh well. We did what we could, so let's try it. Let's see what we can make happen here. So you get Dogger back out, and this is what stinks, the Footman. I think actually, when we get Dogger out, the order of operations is you play Dogger, then you play all the guys from your graveyard, and then you play the other guy you get out with your leader ability. So I think we're just not going to have room for the Footman, and I think that's fine.
On Handor!
Because that means that we are going to not have space for the weakest card we have left, and that's okay. And these are the highest base power ones that we're getting first, or at least some of the highest base power ones. This is the weakest one. So we kind of lucked out there.
Is today the day?
But yeah, that's what I mean. We ran out of board space, but if we did have more, I think we lost a 20 power-ish one of the Disgraced Warriors. So there's that. That would have gotten us mid to high 400s. Then if we could sacrifice some, maybe that's still net positive to at least sacrifice the weakest one here. And if we somehow had board space to still do these things, we could get pretty darn close to 500 power on our side of the board. Doesn't seem like that's actually going to be possible because we did run out of board space, of course. But it's still an interesting little concept, interesting little thing to have in the back of our mind. Now, how many points are we theoretically capable of scoring? And once again, This is, I think now, the closest thing we've had to a true full-length normal battle. I mean, that's basically what this is, against a very standard Nilfgaardian opponent. So, to win this convincingly is definitely a big confidence booster, so that's big. Because there were times recently, or at least immediately after the loss of Isbel, where things seemed to be getting pretty dire. Of course, as long as we have the Skellige guys, as we're seeing here, maybe that is truly all we need, and Isbel was just a nice little cherry on top, a little bonus in addition to them. But, can we even get this? Meve really does not want to go over there. Eh? We go behind? No, I don't know how you get that angle. I mean, not that it's gonna make a huge difference, but it's just taunting us. It's just taunting us. It just won't. It's so close yet so far away. That reference, or insert through the fire and the flames here. But okay. So yes, success there. That loot will forever haunt us for the rest of our playthrough. Not that we really need the resources, but as I said, I think that is a really good sign that a standard, normal, Nilfgaardian opponent, full 3-round match, no alternate win conditions to give ourselves a shortcut, we still won very comfortably, possibly our most comfortable victory thus far in the entire run? Dare I say it, close to it at the very least. So that's a really good sign. Of course, we still don't really know what to expect once we get over here, because the notice board that we got a little while back did not tell us. But that's what we have next on our list, and if the match we just played is any indication, as long as... I'm so gonna jinx this so hard right now. I'm knocking on wood repeatedly. As long as we keep all of our key cards for the remainder of the playthrough, we'll be fine. We'll be totally fine. So that is probably still priority number 1 as we're going through is, yes, of course, we would like to make the types of narrative decisions that we feel most reflect the type of playthrough we want to make, but at the same time, if it might require that we sacrifice an important card to do that, no, the Skellige guys in particular, they must stay. They must stay. But as long as we do that, we should be fine. But this is a good place for us to wrap up here, so thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.